Hello.
All right. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about what it means to be a high integrity leader. So to you, what does it mean to be a high integrity leader?
Well, it means a few things to me, and um, I suspect, depending on who you talk to, the definition may be different. But to me, high integrity leader really is a substitute for first being a high integrity person. And by
Mm,
that, I mean, if you're not a high integrity person, you can't be a high integrity leader. And so it's not, from my perspective, something you thrive to be. You either are a high integrity person and therefore a high integrity leader. By that, I mean, you can be a high integrity person and not be a high integrity leader. But I do not believe you can be a high integrity leader and not a high integrity person. I'm not trying to be philosophical or convolute or anything else. I just believe that. And so I started off saying that is it's not something you just become a high integrity leader.
right.
Uh, and so I think that's very important. What if you
Sure.
want to just jump in and whenever? I assume this is just give and take and flow.
Mhm. Exactly. So, how would you advise someone who is already a high integrity person who wants to become a high integrity leader? How would someone go from just a good person to really go like to taking that integrity to being a good leader?
Well, and I'll focus a lot on if an individual, and each person has to decide this for themselves, that they're a high integrity person. Assuming that's the case, I expect most of us think that, then you live your life as a that way, whether that's in your personal relationships or professional relationships. So I understand the desire to cordially or desire to say I want to be a high integrity leader or not, but really first uh, the high integrity, being a high integrity person, it really is the beginning, middle, and in some ways almost the end. Because if you're a high integrity person, that means define what that means. And you can say high integrity person slash leader. So we can
Sure.
meld them together. But being a high integrity person slash leader is one who values, and it starts with the values aligned with the word and actions. And that's extremely important. I think most of us will say we want world peace or to respect others, that one should respect others and we should love our neighbors. But do your so those are your maybe your values, but do your values align up with your words that you speak? Words are important, and your actions. So if to tie it together, if your values, words, and actions are all in alignment, you're going to be a high integrity leader. Now that assumes your values are of a high nature. I don't know how to put that exactly. Some people values aren't, uh, are we would question, but most people try to come from a place of high values. I think where we get lost oftentimes in our relationships, but in this context, in the work environment, our values, what we profess as our values, don't match up with our words and actions in our transactional and long-term interactions with our colleagues and those above us and those who report to us.
For sure.
So
So
with that,
you've been a leader for some time. So what is one of the most common areas where someone's words and values don't align with their actions?
well, I think the primary area that jumps out for me is we all, it's around accountability.
Mm.
Uh, People will often, sometimes from my view, cavalierly say, I will do X. But we have more of a culture where we expect, it's not surprising that the person does not do X. And
Mm.
and now I need to give context. Is often there's many good reasons why you don't do, one does not, or you don't do X. But often it's just taken for granted that there will be some excuse, some explanation why a person doesn't do what they said they're going to do, i.e., the person is not being their word. It's so acceptable. We're so accustomed to it. That's one of the major uh, uh, areas, I believe, where people fall short
For
of
sure.
being integrity leader. And that leads to lack of trust, lack of accountability, low expectations. So then I was getting to what that, the effects of that. Uh, uh, Let me just add this to kind of fill out what I mean by high integrity leader. To me, I'll just say it quite simply, it means doing what's right. It means being a person of your word. Your action and deeds matter. And being trustworthy. And to be viewed as trustworthy, you must again do what's right, be a person of your word, and your actions and deeds matter. And oftentimes we act like our actions and deeds don't count at different times.
Right.
I view what it means to be a high integrity leader.
Gotcha. Now, you would describe yourself as a high integrity leader, yes?
Yes, ma'am. But more importantly, I believe how others, well, I'll answer two ways. The short answer is yes. And my integrity, being a person of integrity and a person in an employment situation as a high integrity leader, is based on who I am as far as my values matching up with who I view myself as and who I say I am. So yes, but secondly, let's say in the community and or work environment, do others view you as a high integrity leader? I think that's extremely important. I think that's the best way to see if how you view yourself is aligned or matches up with how others who you respect view you.
Certainly. How do you think you have grown as a leader of integrity? What advice, let me say it this way, if you could go back and talk to 25-year-old Jarvis, what advice would you give him about growing into a leader of integrity?
I think leadership, going back to talk to Jarvis 20, love that question. That's that assumes I'm over 27, but I guess that's a safe assumption. Looking back at 25, I think one of the, not just talking to Jarvis at 25, but Jarvis at 25, Jarvis at 35, or Jarvis at 45, 55, or 65. And I'm, of course, not 65 or anything like that, but the point I'm making is no matter where you at along the age spectrum, it's the listening to others. If you want to have the respect of others and for people to trust you and to view you as a high integrity leader, you have to really listen. And you don't have to, but it will help you if you're patient. And then very candidly, it's something I constantly strive to work on. The listening, but not so much the listening, the patience with others and accept people where they're at any particular given time in their growth and development.
Gotcha. And for someone as high achieving and as results oriented as you, I imagine that can be a struggle sometimes if someone needs a little extra hand holding or isn't as confident about something. So, what tasks have you or exercises have you done to help develop your patience?
Well, I haven't done any specific exercises per se, but I
Hmm.
think it really is the listening. And I know we don't use this word in the workplace so much, but the ability, a very underused concept in the workplace is the ability to say, to show empathy slash understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean some people when they hear that will say, wait a minute, do you mean, what about accountability? But see, you can show empathy and understanding and still, frankly, demand accountability.
I think they
Because I
go
think
hand in hand.
absolutely, I think part of being an integrity leader is being able to really show empathy, understand where that person at, and but you also have with that accountability, because I don't think you can be an integrous leader if you don't have both. If you don't understand and listen to where that person is at, and but then have built in some accountabilities, I think they do go hand in hand. And so that's how I really do look at it.